my privilege as the director of Formation School to interview some of our current students. So if Ellie and Josh, if you can pull yourself away from the AV desk, would like to come up. This is one of my favourite tasks of the year. For anyone who doesn't know, Formation School is one of our key vehicles for training disciples and helping them to train others who can be disciples as well. So, we have some questions for you guys. Could you tell us, let's go with Josh first, shall we? Could you tell us what have you most enjoyed about being on Formation School this year?
Yeah, hello. Okay. So I think for me, I've enjoyed the breadth of learning topics. So there's Steve may explain in a bit, but there's 4 different tracks as well as huddles, which take us through the Bible overview and also our personal walk with God. There's also been plenty of practical sessions which give us time to do worked examples together. Yeah, it's been great.
Great. Same question to you, Ellie. What have you particularly enjoyed or appreciated about the year so far?
Yeah, I've really particularly enjoyed the Bible overview track, just for looking at some of those key themes across the Bible, improving my biblical understanding, particularly in the Old Testament, because there's so much information, so just to pick out some key themes and figure out how it all fits together kind of chronologically. That's been really useful. Also, some of the stuff to do with having conversations and asking questions, getting non-Christians to think about, challenging some of those concepts they have. Thinking about those discussions has been really helpful.
Great. Ellie, we'll stay with you a moment. Just can you help us unpack a little bit about how you've been putting the things into practice this year? I think you're normally up in GSMA at this point, are you?
Yeah, I'm going to be heading down in a minute, hence the lanyard.
Oh, down.
So down today, normally up. I think so far I've started to put into practice some of the track 2 is intimacy with God, and so I think I've started to use some of that a little bit. I've reflected on my personal time I spend with God, and I've made a few changes to that to try to hopefully make it a bit more effective. And that has been good so far, I think, and will hopefully continue to grow. But I think also we've learnt about small groups and how to lead those, and that's going to come in really handy in the future with GSMA and with students that I help with. Hopefully as we get students in next year, I'll be able to have some really good conversations with them.
Yeah, thanks, Ellie. Josh, can we send the same question to you?
Yeah, similar to Ellie, I think some of the questions and topics around how we spend our personal time and how we develop our personal relationship with God. We've also been reading, we were challenged to read a book recently about being hurried and how not to be hurried, and I think that's been quite challenging in terms of how we go about daily lives and how we can use that to spend better time with God.
Great. Okay, last question. We're talking this morning about God's character and how he keeps his promises. Could you just say something about how you've kind of experienced God as being a God who keeps his promises this year? Who wants to go first for that? Go on, Ellie.
Yeah, I think I'm not always the best at recognizing when God's at work in my life. I fully believe that he is constantly, but I sometimes struggle to recognize those moments, and that's something I've been praying about, that I would get better at that. And I think even just this past week, I've seen that a little bit more, just in a few moments where I've been like, oh yeah, that's more than a coincidence. That's definitely God there. So I think, just feeling him kind of as that constant presence, I've definitely noticed.
Yeah. And Josh?
Yeah, I think similar again. So God's faithfulness. For me, so my wife Daisy is also doing Formation School, but she's a doctor and she's trying to she's getting into training over the next few years. So kind of trying to put our lives into God's hand and kind of trusting his plans for us it's been a challenge, but it's been a good one to reflect on, and we're starting to see the fruit of that.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, thank you very much, guys.